Mazda. Mazda is KBB.com's lowest cost to own brand over 5 years. Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Citizens Bank. Good banking is good citizenship. Your local Subaru dealers. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
Well, welcome back to Fenway Park as we get ready to play Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Red Sox and the Tampa Bay Rays, celebrating the 1975 team. 40 years ago, that team was together on the field here from Fenway Park. Welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Don Orsillo, along with Steve Lyons. And Steve, tonight for the Red Sox coming into this series, they wanted to take advantage of a Tampa Bay team that was really not hitting. Well, last night Tampa Bay did start to hit. They're trying to squelch that tonight.
Yeah, I mean, they had scored 4 runs in 4 games previous to showing up here at Fenway Park, and then last night they scored 4 runs in the first 2 innings, and the Red Sox never could recover from that. So hopefully they turn this series around against one of the teams that's really struggling offensively.
Very nice ceremony here prior to this game tonight, and seeing so many of these faces. We see a lot anyway, a lot of these guys, but I see some of the guys we don't see all the time.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's probably really great for them because those guys don't see each other all that often, and, you know, I just hope I look that good 40 years later after anything I do.
Well, we touched on it as part of a view from the booth tonight, but the Hanley Ramirez situation, certainly a tough situation for the Red Sox, not going very well right now. They've lost 4 straight games, and last night this takes place and sets them back.
It's too bad, too, because this was really one of the better plays that Hanley's made out there in left field since he played. Ran into that wall, lost the ball. Still can't convince me he didn't catch it. I can't believe that wasn't a catch, but the mild strain of the shoulder, he got the ball back into the infield, and he had to leave the game, but hopefully he'll be back out there in maybe 2 or 3 days, you think. They say they got to wait for him to get his range of motion back in that shoulder before they can run him out there again.
No, the Red Sox have taken the field tonight, so let's check out the Tampa Bay Rays starting lineup tonight. It's brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. Leading it off and in center field, Kevin Kiermaier. Steven Souza Jr. is in right field, batting second with James Loney at first base. Evan Longoria at third base with David DeJesus in left. Logan Forsythe at second base, bats sixth. That is Drupal Cabrera at shortstop, former Cleveland Indian, with Joey Butler, the DH, who homered in last night's game, his first Major League home run. Bobby Wilson does the catching and bats ninth. Tonight's Red Sox starting pitchers presented by your local New England Audi dealers. Rick Porcello on the mound, his 6th start, 2-2 with a 5.34 earned run average, 29 strikeouts to 10 walks, and opponents hitting at .242 against Rick Porcello. A victory last time out against the Toronto Blue Jays on Wednesday, 7 strong, giving up 1 run, walking 2 and striking out 6. They'd like to get the same out of him tonight.
Red Sox defense is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. We have Sandoval, Bogarts, Pedroia, and Napoli. That's the regular infield. And in the outfield tonight, Alan Craig making the start in left, Mookie Betts in center, and Brock Holt in right field. And the battery, Swihart and Porcello.
Umpiring crew, Brian Gorman has a plate. He is the crew chief with Mark Carlson at first base, Mike DeMuro at second base, and Trip Gibson, who had the plate last night, at third tonight. Well, the weather conditions are brought to you by Benjamin Moore. 60 degrees as we get it started tonight. Mostly cloudy right now, and that's the forecast for the remainder of the evening. Breeze coming in from right, currently at 11 miles per hour. Now, the Red Sox in their 1975 jerseys, which were not, I guess, the most liked, from what I understand, for the most part.
Almost every player who ever played the game who had these bad waistbands that with the 2 buttons in the front, and they feel like your worst pair of pajamas.
First pitch from Rick Porcello is in there for strike 1, and we're underway. Kevin Kiermaier leading it off here for Tampa Bay. Steven Souza Jr. and James Loney, all part of a first inning.
Even the tops, no buttons on them. It's like a bad T-shirt you bought at a discount store.
See, I kind of like them, but I never had to wear them. That's the thing. I mean, I like them.
They're tired. My mom and dad went up to spend the weekend in Boston, and they went to a bunch of Red Sox games, and they came home and brought me this T-shirt.
1-1 is a foul tip, and it's a ball and 2 strikes to Kiermaier. I think at 276, the speedy center fielder for Tampa Bay. The curveball misses away.
Well, my dad wanted to make sure that I mentioned that Kiermaier is actually from Fort Wayne, Indiana, where my dad lives now.
A good-looking player right now for Tampa Bay. And
went to Parkland College in Champaign, Illinois, and he was drafted in the 31st round. So this guy stormed through their minor league system. They were talking about him being one of the best outfielders in their entire system in his first year.
The ground ball sharply hit, and by the dive of Bogarts into left field. Kiermaier with a wide turn at first, but he'll retreat. This is the 6th time this year that he is leading off for Tampa Bay. He's got himself a leadoff base hit here in the first inning.
A real tough play for Bogarts with that ball running away from him as a shortstop. Even if you make that play with Kiermaier's speed, you really can't get up and throw him out anyway. And someone's going to have to wash that T-shirt now.
So lead runner on here for Tampa Bay. Steven Souza Jr., the batter. 220 average, 4 homers and 11 runs batted in for him. That's not got on base 4 times. Hit by a pitch, a walk, a single, and a double, and that snapped an 0 for 18 stretch that he had.
0 for 18 and then gets on 4 straight.
And of the 0 for 18, 13 of those were strikeouts.
It's a lot of swinging and missing.
And diving back is Kiermaier. Does not have a stolen base attempt this year, but 5 in his career. Not a great percentage so far in the early portion of his career. Kevin Cash at the helm. He's coming into tonight's action 2 games over 500. And that pitch in on the hands for strike 2.
Souza was an adventure in right field as well. Had that pop up right down the line that popped out of his glove. They ruled that a hit. The Bogarts triple skipped past him down there in right field as well.
Souza leads the majors with 40 strikeouts so far in the year. Make it 41. A foul tip into the catcher's mitt. Swihart holds on. There's the first out for Rick Porcello. It comes by way of the K.
Pretty much just good old country fastball right there. You figure Porcello has seen the numbers as well. He says this guy really doesn't make contact that much. Maybe just blow it by him.
So 1 down, a runner at first, and James Loney the batter. Another check on Kiermaier, back to the bag.
Got a chance to catch up with James Loney before the game. He's a guy that I've watched play for a lot of his career, and they were getting on him in the clubhouse because he didn't trim his beard down. He said, I tightened it up. I cut the line in it. I made the line right down the side of my face. Nice. And there's like, you didn't even trim it, though. Look at it. You're looking like a grizzly guy. Hey, we've seen way bigger beards than that, haven't we?
Yeah, I was going to say the 2013 team as a whole hasn't beaten, although this is
he
nothing.
Tightened his up.
Oh yeah, that's trimmed up for sure.
Got a haircut, trimmed up the beard.
You could actually say that in 2013 the face moss that he had going was unruly.
There was a lot of, the best T-shirt I've seen in a lot of years was the T-shirt with all the guys' faces when it was just their beards.
Yep.
And you could tell who every guy was just from the shape of the face and the beard. That was unbelievable. Rode those beards all the way to a World Series title.
Now 1-1 to Loney, and he's not going to chase that up and away. The fastball that gets away. 2-1.
Porcello here in the early going, trying to establish the fastball. Seen a lot of them so far.
in the air down the left field line. Craig headed over, and he'll have room to make the catch on the dirt of the track. Kiermaier scampering back to the bag at first. 2 down here in the first inning.
On August 9th, the Zac Brown Band will play their 3rd consecutive night in concert at Fenway Park, and included with every purchased ticket is a download of the band's brand new album. Be sure to get your tickets online at redsox.com/Zac Brown.
Evan Longoria hitting at .273 with a home run, 6 runs batted in. Next hit for Longoria will be the 1,000th of his career. Going to become the 3rd Tampa Bay Ray to reach 1,000, joining Carl Crawford and Ben Zobrist. And an RBI double here last night in the first inning.
He's going to wish he had that pitch back. Boy, that was a fastball right down the middle, fouled it straight back. His numbers against Porcello in his career are not good. 2 for 14.
Saw Sandy Leon last night. Blake Swihart catching tonight. And they tried to come in. They miss off the plate inside. Fouled off to the right. Still 1-2. David DeJesus waiting on deck. Started last night's game. Brendan Guyer took over for him later in the game and left. 18th pitch of the first. Will have to wait, and this one gets thrown away. Bounces a bad ricochet out towards right field, and Kiermaier takes second base without a problem. Hit off the concrete down there and quickly made its way into short right.
Well, let's see what happened on this pickoff play right there. He just kind of hooked it. We saw that happen a few times with pitches to home plate in yesterday's game. You just hang on to the ball just a little bit too long, and you lose your release point. There's no real chance for Napoli to be able to snag that ball. Was forcing him right into the runner who's trying to come back to the base.
So now a runner in scoring position after the error charge to Porcello. Well, the road has not been kind so far to Evan Longoria. 200 coming in, and much better at the Trop so far this year.
I don't want to ask the obvious question there, because as soon as you say something about it, it changes. But
close pitch. Porcello wanted that.
1 homer all year.
Yeah.
Ring him up. That's strike 3 right there. Amica doesn't think so.
Nor does Brian Gorman, home plate umpire tonight. Longoria strikes out. It wasn't a strike before. Now it is. Longoria is confused, but he's out number 3. Red Sox coming up from Fenway. into the bottom of the first inning. Rays don't score in the top of the first as Mookie Betts stands in to lead it off. Tonight's Rays starting pitcher presented by New England Nissan dealers. Drew Smyly, who started the year on the DL, makes his third start without a record, 3.38 ERA. And it's a curveball. Misses just off the outside edge. Wednesday ended up with a no decision game that would go 13 innings. He went 6, giving up 2 runs, had 10 strikeouts. And a good performance there for Smyly.
Smyly has become a different pitcher. When he got to the Rays love to preach high fastballs and changeups, and that's been great for Smyly.
To third base, and Longoria throws on the run and in time for the first out. Now, tonight's Red Sox starting lineup is brought to you by your Eastern Hyundai dealers. Mookie Betts leading it off and in center field. Dustin Pedroia at second base. David Ortiz the DH with Mike Napoli at first. Moving up into the cleanup spot in the absence of Hanley Ramirez. Pablo Sandoval at third with Alan Craig in left. Brock Holt in right field. Xander Bogaerts at shortstop bats eighth. And Blake Swihart does the catching. Ball bounced in by Smyly to Dustin Pedroia.
Smiley's a big, tall, lanky guy, 6'3", 200 pounds. Already has good tilt on his fastball, but when he was with the Tigers, he tried to be that typical lefty. Down, throw the cutter in, throw the slider down and in. When he got down here, they said throw your fastball up and then use your changeup off of that. The pitch looks exactly the same coming out of your hand, but you can stretch the strike zone from top to bottom. Keep the hitters guessing. That guy right there is the guy that really preaches it, and you look at what the Rays have been able to do on their pitching staff over the years. It's been tremendous.
Jim Hickey's done a very good job over the years. They've had one after another come up from the minor league system, and he has tutored them all, and they've done very well. And they've changed their bullpen. It seems like every year there's a different bullpen out there for them.
Bunch of different names, same result.
.214 opponent batting average, lowest in the major leagues. And tonight, interesting, we have a couple of Detroit Tigers, former Detroit Tigers, going head to head. They were teammates. As long as Smyly was in Detroit, Porcello was there. And tonight they face off, both wearing different uniforms now.
In fact, Porcello beat out Smyly for that number 5 spot in the rotation. Smyly went to the pen.
Three-two pitch. And Pedroia takes the 1-out walk.
Now tonight's Rays defense brought to you by DraftKings. Longoria, Cabrera, Forsythe, and Loney is your infield. Out in the outfield, DeJesus in left, Kiermaier in center field. He's going to take over that spot. Souza Jr. in right. And pitching and catching, Wilson's your catcher tonight. Drew Smyly, the starting pitcher.
And Ramirez feeling better today, but still going to be a little bit. It's certainly good news that he has not been DL. That was the first thought you had coming off. What would today bring? How stiff would he be? And what would they do? And so far, so good. Still on the roster, and they think it's going to be a day-to-day thing. But you have to be careful.
That's a great sign. Yeah, especially when you're talking about a guy who's already had 2 shoulder surgeries already in his past.
Ortiz fouls it off. There is a big part of the early success for the Red Sox when the season started. And 10 home runs out of the gate, 22 runs batted in. And now day to day with the left shoulder sprain.
You look at the total bases there, he's 6th, mainly because he's got 10 home runs, but he doesn't have a double or a triple on the season. Either a home run or a single.
Runner goes as the throw down. Pedroia will be safe, stealing second base.
Taking advantage of Wilson behind the plate, who's not known as a good thrower. He's an excellent defensive receiver, but doesn't have a great arm, not great footwork, and Petey just outruns it. Don, you know what I really love about these throwback uniforms is that every guy on this team has kind of bought into the look of that 75 team. You see even David Ortiz here with the high socks and the high pants. And
now this was a look you went with yourself, right? I mean, I remember you in Chicago doing this too.
Well, yeah, when I played here, I showed the stripes of the socks. That was kind of during the era when guys like to pull the stirrups up really high. My dad told me that's not the way you're supposed to wear a uniform.
Ortiz strikes out, couldn't hold up. He knew it. Takes with him. First strikeout for Drew Smyly, 2 down.
Smyly will wait a while, not show off all his pitches, and then break off a nasty curveball. And you just can't hold up on it. Smyly doesn't have one of those like big yellow hammer hooks that you read about. It doesn't look all that impressive, but hitters usually have trouble with it.
2 down here in the bottom of the first inning. Pedroia at second base, and Mike Napoli hitting at 159, and he slides up here in the order. Hitting 4th in the game tonight. After that, Ben Hanley Ramirez's spot. Hoping to get Napoli going here a little bit.
Well, the left-hander might do that for him. He's got good numbers hitting versus left-handed pitching so far this year, and a season of overall numbers that aren't very good.
Swing and a miss. Let's check in with Gary.
Guys, so of course Mike Napoli assuming this cleanup role at this point. Caught up with him before the game, and I got as much out of our conversation from what he didn't say as I did from what he did say, saying, listen, everybody's going to tell you everybody needs to step up at this point. With Hanley Ramirez out of the lineup, generally what you'll get is, next man up, got to fill the role. But, I mean, you look at the numbers and what Hanley's producing here, it's not going to be a next man up. He's obviously posting some special numbers right now. So collectively, this lineup, they know everybody's going to have to step up to compensate while Hanley is out. Hopefully not for long.
You mentioned the problems that Hanley had before with the shoulder and the surgeries that he's had, and they will, I think, be very precautious.
Yes. And Hanley will be a good barometer himself. They're talking about range of motion. He's stiff right now. He doesn't have the same range as he had before.
Perfectly aligned as Forsythe at second base comes on and throws out Mike Napoli to end the inning. Red Sox leave Pedroia in scoring position. No score after 1. Back at Fenway without a score. It's to the second inning we go. And David DeJesus, Logan Forsythe, there's Drupal Cabrera scheduled to bat against Rick Porcello through 20 first inning pitches and struck out 2. The Rays, like the Red Sox, left a runner at second base, and Jesus takes strike one. Former Kansas City Royal, 259 with a home run and 10 runs batted in. And a pair of singles in last night's game, and he's got another base hit here into right field. Second straight inning that the lead runner is on with a base hit. Time now for the Geico Red Sox moment all season long. Geico will highlight the 1975 Red Sox in honor of their 40th anniversary. In their 27th game of the 75 season, Sox lost to the Kansas City Royals 3-0. Louis Tiant took the complete game loss, and the Royals starter Steve Busby went the distance, allowing 4 singles to raise his record to 6-2. 1 on, nobody out. Logan Forsythe.
DeJesus was one of those guys that came into this game yesterday with an 0 for 17 slump going. He got 2 hits in that ball game last night. Had a chance to catch up with him before today's game, and he was all smiles. Happy to be around.
Now, Forsythe's a guy that has been hitting. He's had 3 multi-hit games in a row. 5 of the last 6 games have been multi-hit efforts for him, while the rest of the guys have not been hitting quite as well. Forsythe comes in hitting at .306 so far in the season. In multiple positions for Kevin Cash. So left center field, Betts coming in, and Mookie gets there for the first out, and back to first goes to Jesus. Sports can bring you to the edge of your seat and to your feet. It should always bring you to NESN.com, the region's #1 sports site, with comprehensive Red Sox coverage and the most Bruins content in New England. Get live blogs, video, and podcast found only on NESN.com. 1 out, 1 on for Asdrubal Cabrera. 206 average, no homers, and 8 runs batted in. Snapped an 0 for 14 here last night with 2 hits in the game, his first 2 plate appearances. I hesitate to mention this because every time I do, it seems like it happens right away, but I'm going to do it anyway. He's homerless in his last 46 games, not had a home run. Never fails, but it dates back all the way to last year.
You get about 93 people tweeting you that you jinxed it.
It's coming.
I've seen that a few times. If I had the power to jinx anything, I wouldn't be sitting here next to you.
How do you feel about no-hitters? That's a conversation that has taken place a lot over the years.
I think it is the broadcaster's job to inform your viewers and listeners of what's going on. It's a player's superstition to not talk about it, nobody else's. Do you agree?
I don't know.
So we could have a no-hitter in the 7th inning.
Yeah.
And some guy might stroll past his TV at home. Nesson's on, but he hasn't been paying attention. And it won't stop because you're not going to tell him that there's a no-hitter going on.
I've done 3, and I've done both.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. It depends on how I feel that day.
Like I said, because you have no bearing on whether it happens or not.
Right. Well, you know that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. I mean, you have to think about it. If it feels right, then I don't. Like I didn't. For Lester's no-hitter, I did talk about it. For Buchholz's no-hitter, I never mentioned. I never mentioned Hideo Nomo's no-hitter. I did mention Kurt Schilling's possible no-hitter, and that got broken up with 8 2/3.
That was your fault.
In Oakland, and that could have
definitely your fault.
I don't know if Kurt blames me for that, but so I don't know how I feel about it. I know it seems ridiculous that I would have anything to do with it. I have nothing to do with anything that goes on out there.
Schilling can blame you for a lot of things. That won't be one of them.
For some stuff.
Yeah, that's not going to be one of them. Nomo's no-hitter, you're talking about where?
That was in Baltimore for the Red Sox. That was his second no-hitter of his career.
Right.
This is a swing and a miss. Ball gets away. And heading to second base to Jesus. He had gone by the bag at second, then comes back. That was not a foul tip. That was just a straight miss.
I think he thought that ball was fouled off, and he didn't want to slide, so he just stood up and kept running.
It is a stolen base.
Yeah, he almost stole left field. Kept running out there. Almost. Watch him.
Run right by the base.
He didn't even touch second base. Now he's. Wow.
Thought it was foul, no doubt. But he's at second base with 2 down. Joey Butler, the batter.
It's one of the easier stolen bases you'll ever get.
Joey Butler with his first major league home run last night.
I want to say Nomo had a no-hitter in Colorado. I believe the only. Yeah, with the Dodgers, the only no-hitter thrown in Colorado.
Well, oddly enough, the only no-hitter thrown at Camden Yards in Baltimore is Hideo Nomo's.
Wow.
April 4th, 2001. The reason I know this was my first game on NESN.
And you called it. There you go. Usually remember those things.
Yeah, it was tough to forget. One of those things that happened that you're not going to forget. Fly ball headed out towards right field as Brock Holt gets himself underneath it. Now he's going to come in as the wind knocks it down, and he makes the catch and ends the inning. Inning and a half complete from the Fens without a score. Which is in there for a strike. It is the 40th anniversary of the 1975 team, and it is great to have with us Fred Lynn and Jim Ed, both here in the booth with us. Great to see you guys. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you for having us.
What is it like, Fred, for you to be back here with this group here tonight? And the pregame ceremony, it seemed very special.
Well, fortunately, I remember where center field was.
Did you remember who the center fielder was?
Yeah. Well, half the guys wanted me to run up against the wall and lay down and fall like I'm dead. But, you know, I had to check the roster to see who was on the team initially. And then when we started meeting guys, you know, a lot of guys look the same, but some don't. And it was like, yeah, Buddy Hunter, got it. Yeah, okay. It's like, but you fall back into the same things that we did 40 years ago. We're talking about plays that happened like it was yesterday. So it's just great fun. It really is.
And of course, Freddie comes in. I see Dwight and you see Louie. Yaz live up. Well, I live about Yaz. Yaz live in Andover, that area. And so you see a couple of guys. Saw Rick Wise a couple of times. And guys like that Drago at golf tournaments. But when you look at other guys, you're like, man, 40 years? Are we getting older?
Yeah.
No, are we getting old?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, Jim, when you talk about that, you're around town. You guys show up a lot, but a lot of these guys you don't see. How many of them do you stay in touch with?
I think with the Red Sox, they have the alumni, and they will send out press releases and tell you guys that have passed away where guys are still living. You know,
don't say that.
No. But I think it's good because a lot of times if you don't follow baseball, you don't know. You know, like we came in and someone said about Jim Burton. Right. We're going over the roster and say he passed away, and so you want to know who's still there that you play with, and it just makes the family a little bit better.
Yeah, it's nice that the Red Sox have incorporated basically reunions and having some of the older guys come back once in a while. You know, not only for us to see each other, but for the fans too. The sake of the fans get to see us, and that's all nice. But golf is like the common denominator. When I found when you're older, there's charity events, and that's where we all kind of congregate. We all kind of come play golf because we can ride in a cart.
Yeah, but they all lies about the handicap, though.
Not us.
We have a little thing with our golf, and Freddie and I will never play against each other. We always got to be partners. You know, twins are sort of like to the hips and everything else, so we got to play together.
The Gold Dust Twins.
They stay together.
Yeah.
That's right. We take on all comers, by the way.
I see. So challenge.
No, so we'll think about you and Rimdall.
Oh, boy. I don't golf, and Jared doesn't golf. So
Perfect.
That's why we're going to take you guys on.
Yeah,
About 20 aside.
and you know why they want to do that? Because Jimmy still hits the ball about 320, and you're about, what, 2? They're winning a lot of money.
Yeah. We do okay. We play well together as a team.
Fred, what is your greatest memory from 1975?
Ooh, that's a good question. Just to put one memory on it, probably the night in Detroit. I mean, this kind of thing where I drove in 10 runs. I hadn't done that anywhere, any time in my life. I only hit 3 home runs once in the game, and I was 12 years old, so I'd never done that. And plus the fact that I had just lost a 20-game hitting streak the night before, I never expected it. So it just came out of nowhere. Every time I came up, there was 2 guys on, and somebody was hanging something for me, and I hit it. And it was just a crazy, crazy night.
What does it mean to you to have been the Rookie of the Year and the MVP in the same season? I mean, only 2 people that have ever done that. You were the first, obviously. Yeah,
it was kind of bittersweet, to be honest with you. That Game 7, that lingered with me. Well, it still does, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed that number one, that Jimmy wasn't there to play with us.
And the monster season that Jimmy had as well. I mean, you 2 guys were unbelievable numbers you were throwing up.
We've been together since AA. And I felt badly for him not being there. And plus, we lost our number 4 hitter. That was crushing. But the awards, we don't play for this. We played to win championships. That's what we want to do. And yeah, it was nice, and I get some claps on the back. Way to go. But it's still not on me that we lost.
What happened for you guys first? The friendship or the realization that you were both going to be tremendous players and probably come up at the same time?
Friendship more than anything else.
Yeah.
And I think with us being friends and then the wives becoming friends, we're in the minor league, we rode together and the wives got together. So I think it's more of the friendship with the players and the wives.
Yeah. And plus it helped that, we're playing next to each other, left field and center field. And one of the first things I did when I saw the size of Jimmy and he could run, I said, all right, I'm a next football guy too, and I know how to take a hit. We ran into each other one time in AAA in Pawtucket. And I said, Jimmy, that's never going to happen again, ever, because I'm not going to be able to survive that. So
you started letting him call you off?
Center fielder got the right away.
Yeah, I said, back me up, baby.
Well, it is great to have you guys here tonight. It's so great to see you guys together again. We see a lot of Jim. We see a lot of
God.
Jim.
He's telling me he doesn't want to see me
No,
anymore.
it's not that. I love seeing Jim. Jim's the best. And I see you really.
No.
Nice too.
You wait till the new Joseph Boobs comes out. Then got some new stuff.
Yeah.
We never saw this in 1975, by the way.
When did this all start?
No.
This is the new Jim. This
is
TV
new.
Jim.
I never saw a tie on him ever.
Well, plus I'm still not part of the media anyway, so I can.
That's right.
This is the whole TV Jim. There's 2 Jims.
Well,
Jim, and now there's TV Jim.
Yeah, well, both of us were, broadcasters. I mean, this was the craziest thing ever. He never said 2 words, and I was shy as as he was. Yep. And so the fact that we both had media credentials was like,
and it's still that way.
Well, I know that in the games that Jim has done with me, he talks about your center field the entire time, and he talks about the wind as well and how well you could read the wind here at Fenway Park.
Well, one of the things you have to do is, especially when we played, they didn't have all the scoreboards and all the other things that got in the way of the wind. As a center fielder, one of the jobs that I thought was mine is to make sure that everybody's in a position. Okay, so I'm checking the wind on every play, and I'm moving accordingly because this wind swirls around here quite a bit. And if depending on how the pitcher's doing, it depends a lot where I move. And then if I'm moving Jimmy or Dwight. So it's a big factor knowing the weather conditions.
Thank you guys so much for coming up. We appreciate it.
It's just a team, just like Grimdog move you around, same way.
Park, and leading it off is Bobby Wilson. Wilson, the catcher tonight, hitting at 125 coming in. As Rick Porcello back on the hill, 32 pitches deep into his outing, and there is strike one. Well, I know this much. Those guys get along really well, and not just those two, but the guys who are around that team in that era, they're around here a lot, whether it be at the Legend Suite or at Fenway Spring Training, wherever. And that's a group that got along extremely well. Yeah, and as Freddie was saying, it's really a tribute to the organization now, and really the new regime that has taken over in the last 10, 12, 14 years, where they pay attention to who was here before, and they think it's important that those guys stay together and are celebrated. Down the line at third, give me a long throw for Sandoval, but not a problem. As going up to get it was Napoli, as Wilson is retired. And one out here in the third inning. Kevin Kiermaier coming up here for the Rays. Kiermaier singling in the first inning as one of two Tampa Bay hits in the game tonight. We're kidding Jim about being, or I was kidding Jim about being TV Jim. How about some of the stuff he breaks out? The the colors, unbelievable that he has in the, and I think this one, the one he's talking about, is going to be off the charts. He has some patterned collars. Yeah, there he goes. That's tonight, styling right now. Yeah, I mean, he was pretty tame for what he normally breaks out in the pre and post with you all. Well, he had to wear the pajamas. That's the other thing. Kiermaier will crank it foul. I know those guys had a dinner that they could attend last night, and I'm sure they have some festivities after the ball game tonight. You got to think it's going to be a good time. It's a bounce in, and it is still 1-2 now. I'll remind you to play daily fantasy baseball for free with the official partner of the Boston Red Sox. Enter promo code NESSN for a free game at DraftKings.com. That's promo code NESSN at DraftKings.com. 1-2 pitch. Bouncing in again. Bouncing back-to-back breaking balls. One in a row retired by Porcello. Kiermaier kind of hooks it on the ground to Pedroia at second base, and that's out number 2. Back-to-back ground ball outs for Rick Porcello. Toyo Tire is the official tire of the Boston Red Sox. Whether you're taking your truck off-road, the kids to practice, or your sports car to its limits, there's a Toyo Tire for you. Visit ToyoTires.com to find a dealer. 2 down here in the third, and it brings up Steven Souza Jr., a strikeout victim in the first inning. Porcello getting through the first 2 innings unscathed. The Red Sox give up more first inning runs than any team in baseball. And they're not a good club when they don't score first. 5-12 if they don't score first. 7-2 when they do score first. And so far no score here in the third inning. And it seems in those games that they get down early with more than a couple runs. Lately anyway. Yeah, and we know this is not a good team as far as manufacturing runs. They can bludgeon you to death as far as, they can throw a 6 spot on the scoreboard if a couple guys jump the yard and you can get on base. They're even evidence of this series. They have not driven in a guy from in scoring position in the entire series. Bat is shattered as Sandoval off balance throw is not going to be in time, and Souza kind of rolled his ankle as he arrived awkwardly at the bag. He does beat it out, but not comfortable as he arrived and kind of turned that ankle. Bat splintered out to the left side of the infield, which added to the adventure there for Pablo Sandoval cutting over. That's amazing. Fewer and fewer players using any of the maple bats that explode like that. We don't see this happen as much as we did over the last couple seasons. I don't think I've ever seen a bat splinter like that. In 100 pieces? That is unbelievable.
And, I really think that affected Bogart's ability to go get that ball because the business end of that bat was headed at him. Sandoval had to come all the way over and try to cut it off, and they were unable to make that play.
So 2 down. Souza Jr. with the infield hit. He'll take it any way he can get it. And it gives James Loney a chance. He flied out to left field in the first inning. Go to first, and Souza back to the bag.
Here's what I'm talking with Bogarts. You see the bat coming at him. It's not, he's got one eye on the ball, one eye on that bat.
Loney flied out to Alan Craig in left field in the first inning. 0 for 1. Marcelo missing badly with the first 2 to Loney. 2-0. Able to get 2 quick outs in Wilson and Kiermaier on ground outs, but Souza Jr. reaching and now falling behind Loney. 2-0. (3-0).
It was nice to have Lynn and Rice in here, and obviously everybody thinks that 75 series might have been a different story if Jim Rice was healthy and in the lineup playing.
Yeah, 22 home runs during the regular season, leading the team. Finished 3rd in AL MVP voting. Of course, Fred Lynn winning. Runner goes, ground ball, a couple hops to second base. Pedroia fields and throws to wrap up the inning. El Tiante, Louis Tiant will be with us when we come back to Fenway right after this. We're celebrating the 75 team as two hopper out to shortstop is out number 1 of the inning. One of my favorite people of all time to spend time with. El Tiante, Louis Tiant is here with us. It's great to see you, Louis.
Thank you, my friend.
We're going to split you and Jim up. We decided.
Yeah. They don't appear on TV together.
No.
No here.
We would all get fired if we put you guys together.
I know.
One of my favorite parts of spring training is how you and Jim go back and forth at each other. But I know you're around a lot of these guys, but what was it like to be around some of the guys that you hadn't seen in a long time from 75 tonight?
Yeah, this is true. You know, man, I don't see maybe about 10 of those guys, maybe 30 years, some maybe 40 years after we finish, they never see me again. You know, and that's a good thing. You know, you be here, and that past 40 years, and you can stay here and see the guy and see the reunion again. You know, that's a good feeling, really.
What was the electricity like for Game 1, in which you pitched in of that series in 75?
You know, I think you're working all year to get to that point. You know, and to me, all my life, I like to compete. I was the kind of person, I want to go over there and I want to beat you. You give me a chance. They're talking about the Cincinnati was the best team, and I said to myself, now we have a good team too. We know we can beat anybody. And they have to go over there and just do your job and see what happens. You know, same guy, I go that night and was lucky pitching a good game, and we come back and beat him. You know, and that's a good thing. That's a good feeling. You know, but I think most of the thing is compete. And you know, a lot of people going to watching you.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to looking bad. You know.
That's a fair ball. It kicks off the bag, but in the box down there is Pedroia. He has not left the box. And initially called fair, but apparently he fouled it off himself. That's why he's down.
Fouled it off his foot and went all the way down the line and hit the bag and bounced over.
Initially called
He
fair
was probably thinking about jumping up and running down the line, thinking, hey, this is a double now.
Trip Gibson, the third base umpire, called it fair.
Yeah.
Louis, you were famous, obviously, for the way you turned away from the hitter and you wind up kind of disrupting the timing. When did you start doing that?
Here, 1972. I come in 71, but they put me in the bullpen. And then 72, I remember Sonny Seaver was supposed to pitch in that game against Cleveland. And he come in with cold, fever, and then the manager, you know, told me, hey, you can pitch it tonight. I said, yeah, give me the ball. I want to be in there, you know, I'm being joker with me. And then I go and beat Cleveland 3-1 that day. And then the 7th inning, I remember having to hit it in 2 strikes, no ball. And then coming to my mind, oh, let me turn him around, let me look in the center field. And then I released the ball in his eye. And then the guy moving away from home plate, eyes about that big, and they asked Fix, what is that? The Fix telling, no, that's a new pitch. I said, are you kidding me? I said, yeah, that's a new pitch. You know, and then I start working out. That's when I working kind of point relief what I wanted. And after that, I win 172 games.
Yeah, yes,
it worked
did.
for me. You know.
We're coming back. We just went to break real quick. We're coming right back.
Mm-hmm.
Top of the fourth inning, scoreless back at Fenway Park as Evan Longoria leads it off and fouls it off, visiting with Louis Tion. And really one of the things that was amazing about that World Series, your dad had the chance to come here from Cuba. What was that experience like for you?
Well, that was the greatest thing that happened to me in baseball. I mean, my baseball career. You know, my father never see me pitch because in Cuba they don't let it come into the ballpark and see me pitch because he kind of was sick. He gets sick when he see me pitch, nervous and stuff. And then the doctor tell him, "No, you're not going to go."
Your pitching made him sick. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And then they said, "No, don't go no more." Say it again. Then we used to play domino, around the corner of the house, and then when they get out of the table, he go inside and ask my mother, "How's the kid doing? You know, he okay? He win? He's ahead, you know." But when they come in here, that was the first time he see me pitch. After 17 years, I left.
How extra nervous were you knowing that he was here?
I was nervous. You know what? I tell you one thing about me. I love being on the mound. Believe me. For me, it was the ultimate of my life. Pitching, trying to get you out, facing the base hitter and get him out. You know, it was fun dealing for me to go over there and do that. I mean, you know, the thing is when they come in and he don't see you for, you don't see for 17 years, you know. I mean, you know, you're not going to say, don't get nervous or anything, but, you know, you're thinking about it. You want to do a good job.
Yeah, sure.
You want to do a good job, but especially when he was a pitcher, too. He pitched in the Negro League for 25 years, you know. A lot of the guys I used to play winter ball, and then they were my coach or my pitching coach, and they come in, they used to tell me, "No, you're good, but your father was better than you." You know? They used to tell me that all the time. You know, but he was cool. He really was a cool man. He got his way to be, you know. And I know when they were serious, not the first game I pitched when he come in. I lose in that game against California. And the guy hit a home run. The sensei hit a home run. When I come back home, when we go eat, he was mad at me. He don't want to talk to me, boy. What do you think? What are you doing? And then when the World Series coming, I win the first game, man, that was a happy man. Wow. And go home and we have a couple of drinks and we eat. Man, he really was happy man. You know, and I think that's the best thing I could do for him and my mother. You know, after 17 years, I don't see that.
This is line to center field. Mookie Betts is there. Well off the bag at second is Longoria, and it'll be a double play. How about that? He sort of lost track where that ball was, and Longoria 2/3 of the way to third base. They may challenge this. We'll see. Kevin Cash staring in to find out. Get another look at this.
What's up? Okay.
Reaching out like a first baseman there is Bogaerts.
Yeah, that's exactly the way you're supposed to make that play. Just like a first baseman. It looks like he's out to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they're not going to challenge it.
Longoria just lost track of that ball. It wasn't like it was a spectacular play by Mookie. He just made the catch and saw that Longoria was messing around out there, and he gunned him down.
Louis, what was it like facing the big red machine? How did you approach those guys in that lineup? That was quite a lineup.
That was a bad thing. Everybody hit. Everybody was a good hitter. I mean, Morgan, Pirro, Concepcion, Bench, Griffin, even the guy that's supposed to be Geronimo, he's supposed to be the low
yeah, and
guy.
even he hit.
He's the one that hit me. He hit me better than anybody else. Yeah. He hit 2 home runs against me, you know, and it's tough. That's a tough thing to pitch. You know, not because I'm beating or whatever, but that was tough. You can't make no mistakes. Because everybody hit the ball out of the park. Everybody hit for average. They got a lot of run. Tiny Perez, you know, he was a bad boy in that time.
It must be nice to know that you were a part of the World Series that 75 World Series that most people say is the greatest World Series ever played.
Yeah, that's what they said. And the one I see from that time to now, I think it won the best.
Yeah.
To me, I think. But, you know, like I said, we're lucky I participate in there. Lucky I do a decent job. I win 2 games and pitch him in 3 games. You know, that's one more you can ask. I think God was good to me. and give me, you know, let me, that same happen for me and the family.
Well, Lou, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming up here. Thanks very much. Great to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
El Tiate with us here in the booth.
Thank you for having me here. Okay.
We celebrate the 40th anniversary of the 1975 team. David DeJesus at first base as Jubal Cabrera batting here, down 0-2. Double play huge for Porcello as the Rays had 2 on, nobody out. First 2 reaching on base hits, and all of a sudden you get that fly out to center, turns into a double play.
Yeah, now you're 2 outs, just a guy on first base, makes this inning a lot more manageable.
Almost got away there from Swihart, able to keep it in front of him and staying at first to Jesus.
We know Swihart came late to the catching game. One of the reasons why he's just in the big leagues right now is that his work defensively is still a work in progress, but he is getting better every day.
Swing and a miss, and Cabrera strikes out. He's fired up. 4th strikeout for Porcello. Days, nights, and double headers. To see why we've been named the #1 SBA lender in New England, visit easternbank.com/smallbiz. First pitch, breaking ball in the dirt from Smiley begins this bottom of the 4th inning. Scoreless contest. The Rays have 5 hits. Red Sox so far with none. Ortiz hits this high and deep to right center field. Back towards the bullpen and caught up against the wall out there in center field. Kiermaier at the deepest part of the ballpark, and all Ortiz can do is smile.
This ball actually tracked back towards center field. After he hit it, it starts to fade. If it goes the other way, it's in the bullpen. Big Papi knew he got enough of it to get it out of here if he pulled it just a little bit more. That's a beautiful play by Kiermaier. That's a long way to run. You have to worry about that wall and still make the catch.
Appreciating that very much is Drew Smyly. A loud out. Nice play by Kevin Kiermaier. Banged into the wall pretty hard. One down in the inning, Mike Napoli. Mike grounded out to Logan Forsythe at second base in the first inning. Rolls it over foul, 1-1.
We listened to Gary Streisky talk to Mike Napoli about who has to step up, and he said everybody does, but you know that he's got to be feeling like a lot of that weight's on his shoulders to step up here. It's not been off to a good start, hitting in that number 4 spot now with Hanley out of the lineup.
1-2 pitch bouncing in. It is Napoli now, Sandoval next. The Red Sox batting here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Inside out swing and foul back. Get immediate care without leaving the ballpark at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center, first aid station behind Section 12 on the lower concourse. BIDMC is the official hospital of the Boston Red Sox. Two is high for ball 3. Second full count of the night for Drew Smyly. And it's a wrap foul outside of third. So far, he has kept the Red Sox off balance tonight.
Yeah, and Smyly with the confidence to throw an off-speed pitch right there on a 3-2 count.
Softly grounded, Smyly off the mound. He'll bobble it, and on is Napoli. A lot of spin on it, did not play it cleanly, glanced off the glove, and then he was in trouble.
Smyly got to that ball so quickly. Excellent athlete out there. But then he hurried himself, and he knew he didn't have to. Napoli's running. Now you're too late.
He's charged with an error. And Napoli reaching on the miscue.
That doesn't happen very often. Usually if a pitcher bobbles a ball or is unable to make a play, it's almost an automatic hit. But I think that he was a victim of his own athleticism. He got to that ball so quickly that all he had to do is pick it up and throw him out. And then he couldn't do that.
Sandoval fouls it off, back into the seats.
If you're Mike Napoli, though, and you saw some of the hits from yesterday being scored hits, you're watching that play thinking, really?
And Sandoval fouls off another down beyond Canvas Alley. Ace Ticket, the official Red Sox ticket partner, has the best seats at the lowest prices to all the games at Fenway, all with a 200% guarantee. Right now, Ace Ticket has special savings on all Red Sox games, including the Yankees. Visit Ace Ticket or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Swing and a miss, and Sandoval chasing the high fastball. That's strikeout number 4 for Drew Smyly.
That's the pitch we talked about. Smyly and most of these Rays pitchers will go up in the zone with the fastball.
It seems that is a pitch that Sandoval will chase.
I don't think there's a pitch he's ever seen that he won't chase. And it's hurting him a little bit from the right side. His problems hitting right-handed are well documented. Now 2 for his last 26 hitting right-handed.
2 down here in the 4th inning, and it brings up Alan Craig. Greg walked in the second inning. One of 3 base runners in this game for Boston. 2 walks, and more recently Napoli reaching on an error.
Well, it looks like Alan Craig may get a few days in a row to play. Maybe he'll be able to relax and act a little bit more like an everyday player and start swinging that bat a little better. Hit the ball hard in yesterday's game. Brock Holt's a throwback player every day.
Down the third base line and foul on the broken bat liner, just foul.
Those are the kind of things that happen to you when you're going poorly at the plate. If he's hitting 320 right now, that ball's 2 feet to the right and it bounces fair instead of foul. That bat just shattering. Look how close that is. And a nice play.
Happiest guy in the ballpark right now.
Not going to be able to wipe that smile off his face for a while. He's getting pictures.
0-2 pitch, and that is in the dirt.
Is it just me, or is all of a sudden there was a bunch of girls sitting around him after he caught the ball?
I noticed that.
Came out of the woodwork. Look.
1-2 pitch to left field. The Jesus had started back. Now he comes in and puts it away to end the inning. The Rooster, Rick Burleson, will be with us when we come back to Fenway. Scoreless as we head to the 5th inning. Red Sox still looking for their first hit of the night. Porcello back on the mound has given up a total of 5 hits in this game, and it is Joey Butler who leads it off. We are celebrating the 40th anniversary of 1975's team. Rick Burleson, the Rooster, with us. Great to see you, Rick. Thanks for coming up.
Thank you, Don. Good to be here. Steve,
great to see you.
Thank you.
What is it like for you to be back with this group of guys again? Your first year in the big leagues, 74. Your second year, a little more comfortable when you arrived on the scene for 75.
Yeah, I was, and but to answer your first question, it's great to see these guys. There's a few of them I haven't seen in 40 years.
Yeah.
So whenever you can get together like this, and I just want to thank John Henry for doing it. You know, if they'd waited another 10 years, half of us might not be.
You know, I know there's a lot of festivities going on around this over the last couple of nights. I know they had a nice dinner last night that you went to. How was that to kind of see all the guys again?
It was wonderful. You know, they had a hospitality suite at the hotel as well, and we all met up. You know, guys that you just were pals with when you played, and they were here, you know, for more than 75, but for a few years. And to be able to reminisce and tell stories, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
This is lined into left field for a base hit, and board is Bobby Wilson here with one out in the inning. We've been back to Fenway a few times since. Your thoughts on the way the ballpark is here coming back here, and how much different is it now from when you were here?
It's magical. I mean, you know, they talked about building a new one down by the water somewhere. I just can't imagine it because this place is so beautiful. And you're sitting here in the stands and looking down. It looks brand new to me. I mean, it's, what, 100 and some years old, and they just keep it so nice. And I can't imagine them going anywhere else. This is just I was talking with Wade Miley and Tommy Lane, who I had at AAA a couple years ago, and I said, enjoy every minute of it because there's not going to be a better place to play in your whole career. And so get after it and enjoy it because you're gonna remember these days forever.
We talked a little bit about that, Freddie Lynn, earlier. Of course, went someplace else. You go someplace else. How different was it for you to go someplace else after playing here?
Well, it was hard because baseball on the East Coast is much bigger than it is on the West Coast, than it was back in the 80s. People would come in the third and leave in the seventh in the middle of a no-hitter, which I think we have something like that going tonight.
Well, that was because Don wouldn't tell anybody that it was a no-hitter, so they didn't know.
Well, here's something you've seen a lot of in your career, somebody coming in hard and taking you out the shortstop, and Bogarts is taken out here.
Little elbow.
Yeah, you know, I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more momentum back towards first base rather than being planted completely there.
Yep.
You get your legs knocked out from underneath you a lot easier that way. And, you know, he's going to learn. He's a young kid with a lot of ability. And, of course, we all saw what he could do last year and the year before. He's going to be a fine player. But, you know, technique, you learn by making mistakes and by getting knocked down a few times like he just did. And he'll eventually get that. And those guys will be getting down a lot sooner when he starts coming underneath with the throws a little bit.
Yeah, you know, I was going to say, as you know, his best protection is the baseball, and if he's been a little bit too much of a nice guy, he's willing to throw over the top of a runner instead of going right through him with it.
Exactly, and they're going to get out of the way as many times as you think you might hit them. They figure out a way to get out of the way, and very seldom do you even, you know, catch any part of their body. But when they know you mean business, they're going to get out of there.
I've asked everybody else tonight. I might as well ask you as well. Your favorite memory of 1975, if you have one.
Well, I think beating the Yankees in Shea Stadium that summer, Freddie Lynn's catch in a big situation, and of course the World Series. You know, they still talk about it as being one of the best ever, and to be a part of that, you know, at least I have a small part of history anyway.
And I don't think you really get enough credit for your tenacity and leadership on that team as well. You talk about, you know, the years that Rice and Lynn had, but, you know, you being up the middle and how strong you guys were, and you setting the tone for kind of the attitude of that team.
Well, you know what? I took a lot of pride in my career for playing every day. And, you know, maybe I wasn't going to get a hit every day, but I could do something to help the team, and whether it was in the field or at the plate. And playing 158 games that year, I think, out of 160, I think that was as much of a contribution as anything I did.
And I think it was funny when Don said, did you feel much more comfortable in 75 after being around? He was never comfortable. He was always on edge. He was he wasn't going to go out there and have a good time and laugh and smile. You were out there to beat somebody.
Well, when you make 3 errors in the first big league game you ever played in, which happened to me in 74, around May 2nd or 3rd of 74 when I got called up, there's not too many things to smile about until you've had a pretty good career. So I took it serious, and maybe more so than others, but that's just the way my temperament and the way I played the game.
Well, last time you were here in this booth, we were honoring Jerry Remy, and of course a double play partner of yours, not in 75, a couple years later, but you guys seem to work well together.
We did, and I miss him. I hope he gets well, and we had the opportunity this week to come out a few days early and visit friends, and one of them was Joe Cochran, and I was hoping to see Jerry at the ballpark, but hopefully things are going to get better for him. He's going to get well and be back up here soon. But Joe and I go way back. He's on the visiting side now, but he does a great job over there, and just wanted to give him a shout out.
0-2 the count, and there's a grounder back to the mound to Porcello. He'll flip to first, and that will end the inning. Rick Rosen, thanks for coming up. Great to see you.
My pleasure. Anytime, fellas. Good luck. Have a great season. Thank you.
Bottom of the fifth inning back at Fenway Park, and the bottom third of the Red Sox order as Brock Holt leads it off and takes pitch down low. Holt striking out looking his first time up, and here's a fly ball down the left field line. The Jesus moving over and into the seats, a foul ball. Tonight's Cold Hard Facts are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Only two players in Major League Baseball history have won both the Rookie of the Year and MVP award in the same season. 1975. We talked about it with Fred Lynn. Led the American League in doubles, runs, OPS, and slugging percentage. Ichiro led the American League in hits, batting average, and stolen bases. And Ichiro in 2001, his first year in the big leagues after playing in Japan. Ground ball right side, Forsythe throws out Brock Holt for the first out of the inning. Well, tonight again, and you get to experience it for the first time last night. We will go to break here at the end, but we're going to show you what's going on here at the ballpark.
I can't wait to see that again.
Last night you got to see it. You're going to see it again tonight.
I was mesmerized by
what was going on?
What was going on at the park, even while I was watching the advertisement.
So you want to stay with us at the end of this inning. Xander Bogaerts takes a strike over the inside corner. I want to ask you about Ichiro winning the Rookie of the Year after playing in Japan. There are some people who don't think that he should have been Rookie of the Year having that much professional experience when you arrived.
Well, I think everybody knows that the Japanese leagues are nowhere near the same class of baseball that the big leagues are here. And even though you have 7, 8, 9 years of experience in the Japanese leagues, he was a rookie here as far as I was concerned, so I was fine with it. I'm not so sure I was fine with him winning the MVP. I thought someone else had a better year. I can't remember who it was. But I mean, he had a tremendous season, and he ended up winning both. And so the voters, that's the way they voted. Just really has had a fantastic career in both leagues.
0-2 pitch, and Bogaerts goes around, gets away from Wilson, who's got to throw him out, and does. It's 5 strikeouts for Smiley through 4 2/3. So 2 down here in the inning, and we are closer to the break. Blake Swihart standing in. Swihart grounded out in the 3rd inning.
Now, what you're kind of looking for is the Red Sox have not been able to put anything together offensively so far in tonight's game. You're looking for Smiley to start to lose it a little bit.
Well, diving at shortstop is Asdrubal Cabrera to make the catch. A 1-2-3 5th inning. Enjoy the break. About this.
JD giving us a wave. All the boys.
Jim Dodonna, Jesse Gregg, front bench where all the action happens. To third, Evan Longoria's long throw is going to get there in time for as Sandoval is able to get Betts. Wait, what am I talking about? He's able to get Longoria. With the first out of the
you switched him around a little bit. Longoria was in there somewhere. He threw himself out.
Is running. Sandoval's at third, and Longoria is out. I got so wrapped up in looking at the truck there, it threw me off. I got to see over there. I don't know what's going on.
It was a scary sight.
Yeah. So Longoria is out number 1, 5-3. I had all the right people, just in the wrong place.
He threw a Betts in there,
I mixed in a Mookie Betts because I have him leading off next inning.
He's
on the
still
other
out
side
there.
Of the card.
He's out there in
Mookie
center.
Betts is in center right now.
He did throw a guy out earlier today.
It's a foul off to the left. There's Mookie Betts. He'll be leading off.
Right there, that's him.
If you turn the card over, it's awesome. He'll be leading off, and then it'll be Dustin Pedroia and David Ortiz.
It would be really cool if Mookie actually gave you a wave right there, just like the guys in the truck. But no.
You know what happened? I didn't turn the scorecard over because I was so enthralled with watching what was happening here in between.
Because we stayed at the park.
That's what happened. And David DeJesus is 2 for 2 in this game. He's single to right, single to left.
What I was going to say before Longoria threw himself out was I really like the way Sandoval really gathers himself down there at third base because he's got a gun for an arm, so he knows that he can take his time, set himself up, square himself to the play, and then let it rip over there. I think Longoria was the runner.
He was.
Not sure.
Yeah. 1-2 pitch. And DeJesus this time grounds to Napoli, who will tag the bag. First time they've been able to retire DeJesus in this game. Well, no rookie to flavor. Hood just stepped up to the plate with a new Red Sox Caramel Sundae cone. Bring it home today. Always good, always good. There's Evan Longoria, who led off this inning. Grounded out. DeJesus grounded out. And here's Logan Forsythe. He has flied out twice in this game.
What I really like about the Rays is how they follow their batting order the way they're supposed to.
You're not going to let this go, are you?
Not for a minute.
Well, it all comes down to the manager.
Yeah, he's setting the tone.
Yep, to make sure that everybody bats in order. Curveball that time in there for a strike, 1-1.
Tell you what, Porcello scattering some 7 hits here in this ball game, but he has looked very, very good. And once again, it seems like the onus is on the Red Sox offense to get something going. 0-0 game against one of the worst hitting teams in the American League, and the Red Sox, we all know they're supposed to be sort of a juggernaut offense that's slumping right now. The point I was trying to make about Smiley is that he's really only making about his 6th start since spring training, and so he would kind of normally make 6 starts in spring training. So, you know, he's not really ready to go too much deeper into this ball game. So we'll see if maybe he starts to lose it and the Red Sox can bang him around a little bit.
The Red Sox do not have a hit tonight against Drew Smiley through the first 5 innings. He's 73 pitches deep into his outing through 5. A payoff pitch. Line to left field and a base hit for Logan Forsythe. He had been held hitless to this point. I remind you to tune in tonight after the game to NESN Sports Today, presented by People's United Bank. Sarah and Adam will have a report on the Patriots' surprising cut and look at Claude Julien's future with the Bees. See what know-how can do. Two down, Forsythe at first base, and as Drupal Cabrera, 0 for 2 in the game, has struck out twice, all time swinging. Time we saw Evan Longoria pick up his 1,000th career hit, as Drupal Cabrera is 7 hits shy of getting to his 1,000th. For the first, and back to the bag is Forsythe.
You know, we always sort of look at careers and Hall of Fame type careers, and the magic number for that is kind of the 3,000 hit mark. It's generally a little lower than that, but if you get 3,000 hits, you're in. 1,000 hits is a lot of hits. Pedroia has got 1,400 hits on the nose, I think. I think he's got right at 1,400. Think of all the great years that he's had and how long he's played already, and he's less than halfway to what it would take to be sort of a benchmark Hall of Fame guy as far as hits are concerned. 3,000. Goodness.
That'll bounce in. Taken off right away was Forsythe. Throw down is going to be not in time. Bogaerts thought he might have overslid off the bag, kept the tag on him just in case.
That's one of the better jumps you're ever going to see. As soon as this ball was even close in the dirt, Forsythe was gone. Look at him. Now he's gone. He didn't even wait to see if Swihart picked that ball. As soon as it was in the dirt, he was gone. That's just an excellent read.
Looks like John Farrell is coming out here.
Worried about.
So they're going to challenge you. I wonder if he came off the bag when he came in. He kept the tag on once he got off.
Well, that's what you have to do as a shortstop. Yeah, he might have.
Might have been off.
Yeah, that back foot had to kind of just slip up off the bag. And as a shortstop or a middle infielder these days, you have to keep the tag on the guy. The contention from the umpire may also be that Bogaerts was kind of helping him along, like pushing him off with the hand, pushing him. I don't think he really helped him that much with that back foot that may have slid off.
If the tag is on him there, he's out. Question is whether or not the tag was on him when that front foot came off, because the back foot hadn't reached.
This may be one of the ever famous inconclusive.
Seen a few of those lately.
And I've talked a lot about this before. You know, I'm not a fan of the replay. I just believe that baseball is a perfectly imperfect game. You don't have to be right on everything. It's the umpires, I think, do an outstanding job, but it's that type of play that I think that becomes really ticky-tack. It's like it used to be that if the throw beat you at second base as a second baseman or a shortstop, if you swept the tag down through there and then got out of there so you didn't get hurt yourself, get the tag down, let everybody know that he's out, and they would ring the guy up.
Right.
You know, it's like throw beat you put the tag on you, you're done. Now with the instant replay, if your foot just barely comes off a little bit after you've been safe.
They're sticking with safe, so he will remain at second base. John Farrell losing the challenge.
I will say, however, that the players of today are so much more creative as far as the way they slide than the guys we've been talking to tonight on the 75 team, or back when I played. We slid straight into the bag. We weren't able to slide and then pull one hand back and then reach around the corner of the bag. These guys are amazing at being able to do that stuff.
So Forsythe in scoring position. And it's popped up right side of the infield. Down from first comes Napoli. And he'll make the catch to end the inning. But coming up to lead it off, Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz next. Scoreless as we head to the bottom half of the 6th inning. And Drew Smyly back on the mound with a curveball to begin the inning. Top of the order, Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia, David Ortiz anticipated here in the inning. High drive to left field for Mookie Betts. When it comes down, the Red Sox will have a lead. First hit of the night's a big one. It's Mookie Betts with his 3rd home run of the year. The Red Sox take a 1-0 lead.
Every once in a while, Mookie breaks out a really nice power stroke. He kind of winds up. Big swing. That ball's just walloped. Kind of what we were talking about with Smyly getting into the little bit later innings. He hasn't thrown that many pitches, just 74, but he's not a guy that has the arm strength right now. Goes from throwing a no-hitter to losing in this ball game right now with one swing of the bat.
Now Pedroia rifles this foul out ahead. Follow the Red Sox all season in 2015 with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At Bat is up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCasts, and more. Get MLB.com At Bat for your smartphone or tablet. Longoria throws across to get Pedroia. The first out here of the 6th inning. Now Mookie Betts with his 3rd of the year puts the Red Sox on top 1-0.
Gotta tell you, I really liked the call too. You didn't even really bother saying it was a home run. You just said when this ball comes down, it'll be 1-0.
I was that confident it was going out.
We all were. I like it though.
You're not going to get that kind of confidence all the time from me.
That ball would have hurt somebody if it hit him out there.
There's Big Papi with 1 out. Tonight's key matchup brought to you by Honda. Start something special with a great deal on a Honda. Winning at 385 during this 7-gamer. 4 RBIs, 4 runs scored during his current streak.
I think you're going to see some breaking balls and fastballs away. I don't think Ortiz is going to see that same fastball down the middle that he hit a mile into center field that was caught by Kmart.
Breaking ball missing inside.
Kind of show him something inside and then go back away. You're thinking if you're Ortiz, you may be looking for a breaking ball. Hang out over the plate and try to drive it to left.
This is the play by Kevin Kiermaier you're talking about. This ball appeared to be ticketed for the bullpen, but Kiermaier comes and makes the catch and bangs up against the wall. Smyly loved it. It was right in front of the 420. Now he's going to get through this shift down the right field line to the corner. Ortiz is thinking too. Souza will dig it out. His throw will not be in time. Nobody covering second. And David stands at second base with a 1-out double right through that shift on the right side.
That's the most improbable double you're ever going to see. He had no room to get it through this shift, and yet finds just a smidgen right there. Look at the big guy. Part of the problem with that shift is some of the infielders aren't sure where their responsibilities are after the ball's hit. That ball comes in, no one's even playing second base.
Jim Hickey coming out there as Smyly, not allowed to hit through the first 5. He's given up a home run and now a double with 1 down in the inning. So have you seen our new Sunday pregame show, Nesson Clubhouse? It's where kids run the show, and we're looking for youth baseball and softball teams to be a live studio audience. Visit Nesson.com/clubhouse sweepstakes to enter your son or daughter's team now. Action in the pen for the first time. Xavier Cedeno warming up. The only lefty that the Rays have in their pen. Pitching line for Drew Smyly is brought to you by your Eastern Lexus dealers. 5 1/3, 2 hits. A run, the home run by Mookie Betts. A couple of walks, 5 Ks.
This is where you really need Napoli just to hit a bullet somewhere. This team over the last 2 nights has done nothing with runners in scoring position.
On the ground at third base, Longoria looks Ortiz back and throws across. 2 down. No advance for Ortiz. The don't miss Red Sox first pitch presented by Joseph Abood. Available at Men's Warehouse tomorrow at 6 p.m. TC interviews Rock and Roll Hall of Famer member James Taylor, plus much more. Two down. Ortiz at second for Pablo Sandoval. Grounded out short in the second, struck out in the fourth. Popped up, back and out of play. Now looking back over the starts for Drew Smyly, this is the fourth start that he has made so far this year. And in those starts, went 4 2/3 in the first start, then 6 innings in the next start. The one pitch is in the air down the left field line to Jesus, going over, but it's not going to come back. It's up into the seats. CVS Pharmacy is proud to support the American Lung Association Force campaign to make lung cancer a public health priority. From May 3rd to the 23rd, you can make a donation to support the lung cancer research at the register at all CVS Pharmacy locations. CVS Pharmacy, the official pharmacy of the Boston Red Sox. Two down. Ortiz at second. And coming out of his crouch to reel that in was Bobby Wilson. Alan Craig on deck. Protecting the plate that time and cranking it foul to the right is Sandoval.
Well, now Smiley's up to 90 pitches. I think they're just hoping he can get out of this inning right here.
He won at least 7 innings in 4 of his 7 starts last year with Tampa Bay. Compared to his time in Detroit, he only went 7 or beyond 3 of 36 career starts. And he strikes out Sandoval to end the inning. Mookie Betts with his 3rd home run of the year gives the Red Sox a 1-0 lead. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. 1-0. Red Sox on top. Hopper bounding out to Bogarts off the bat of Butler, and he is out number 1. As we check downstairs to Gary Streisky.
Guys, I for one am a big fan of tonight's retro 1975 throwbacks, and overwhelmingly the players are too. Going with the knee-high look with the stirrups for the most part are the fellas. I want to rewind a couple days to actually Saturday. A lot of people were asking me, why is everybody going with the knee-high look, specifically the infielder? So, of course, I asked the originator, that guy right there, Brock Holt, if he inspired everybody. And he said, actually, not really. Pedroia was a day game, felt like going knee-high. So did Napoli. Xander, actually, that guy. He said he felt left out when he saw the other infielders wearing the knee-highs, so he put his on. They walk outside. Mookie Betts at this point goes, hey, guys, I wish I would have got the notice, but he didn't have the knee highs to go with, so Brock let him wear a pair of his, so that would inspire that look. Today, of course, all those guys going with the knee highs. Psycho, what I didn't know, though, was that they're actually completely different pants from the long ones. The knee highs, they have the elastic strap, and, well, I guess they're not the full-length pant, which I thought you just rolled up. The players also had the choice of going either with the stirrups, and if they didn't, like Porcello, you just had to rock the solid Red Sox. But yeah, I didn't know that the knee highs were a completely different pant.
Absolutely. Think of how much you'd have to roll up with the guys that wear their pants so long now. That would be a lot of bunched up pant at your knee. Sandoval electing to go with the soccer sock look.
Curveball and a swing and a miss as Bobby Wilson strikes out. That's punch out number 6 of the night for Porcello. It's time now for a game break, brought to you by Jordan's, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Tom? All right, Tom, thanks very much. Back here at Fenway as Kevin Kiermaier, the recipient of strike 1. 1 for 3. Got a single back in the first inning to left field. And on the grass at third is Sandoval. As Porcello jumps ahead 0-2.
You know, over the last 2 starts for Porcello, what he's really shown me is that he's a 4-pitch pitcher. People thought, well, when you get Porcello, he had a great ground ball rate. Everyone figured he was going to be a kind of a sinker slider changeup guy. But he's got a great hook, as he just showed to Wilson for a strikeout. A pretty good changeup. He rides a 4-seamer. Got a lot of his strikeouts in his last appearance with the curveball. So he's mixing a little bit of everything in there. There's a 4-seaming riding fastball that was out of the zone.
Tommy Lane, the lefty. Alexi Agondo, the right-hander.
Up over 100 pitches now.
Line and caught at first base by Napoli. A hot shot off the bat of Kiermaier, but it's out number 3. 7th inning stretch, 1-0 Boston. legends Louis Tion, Jim Rice, Steve Lyons, and more on January 9th as they sail the Caribbean on Celebrity's 2016 Red Sox fan cruise. Space is limited. Call 1-888-727-4907 or contact your travel agent today, or you can call Steve Lyons' cell phone and he'll get you set up for what's going to be an outstanding cruise.
Give that number up.
How about that?
Yeah.
Steve Lyons.
I'm like Captain Steubing.
January 9th. Where are you going? Do you know in the Caribbean?
Not yet.
But you're going.
Yeah. Decided to be a part of the whole festivities.
Rick Porcello looks like he has done 102 pitches.
Excellent outing.
Back to back now for Porcello. Here's Xavier Cedeno into the game. Fourth appearance. Has not given up a run in 2 innings. 3 strikeouts. And opponent sitting at 143 against him. Alan Craig leads it off and takes ball 1.
Yeah, when you think about it, Porcello really wasn't in any trouble. He had first and second with nobody out. Mookie Betts got him out of that one with a double play as he doubled off Longoria at second base. That's when Mookie Betts actually did throw out Longoria. Then later on, Sandoval threw out Longoria one time later in the game.
Driven to left field for Craig. It is up and it is going to be off the wall. David DeJesus plays the carry quickly. Throw to second base, going to be in time to get Craig. So he gets one up off the wall, but DeJesus plays it cleanly out there in left and throws out Craig at second base, trying to stretch it into a double.
It's one of those plays where up here in the booth you could see that he was not going to make it. And you know, let's be frank about this. Alan Craig hasn't had a lot of hits this year. He hasn't had a lot of experience of that ball going up off the wall. And so sometimes you have to live it at Fenway before you figure out which balls you can go on and which ones you can't. You just learn the hard way. Nice to see him hammer a ball, though.
Now Brock Holt standing in. A big base runner right there. Leadoff runner in the 7th inning. Red Sox trying to obtain some insurance here.
Yeah. Pretty sure that's a home run everywhere else, too.
There's strike 2. Brock struck out looking in the 2nd inning. Grounded out to second base in the 5th.
Yeah, you play a lot of games in Fenway. You watch a lot of games. You kind of get used to the balls that you know you can go on and which ones you can't. But unless you're the guy who's actually doing it.
Forsythe throws out Holt for the 2nd out here of the 7th inning. But don't miss Red Sox Game Day Live, presented by DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. Tomorrow at 6:30, TC and Wake will have Larry Lucchino live on Yawkey Way. DCU Digital Federal Credit Union. What can DCU save you? Let's see Agondo continuing to warm in the pen. The Rays pen is busy as well. Ernesto Frieri. But right now it's Xavier Cedeno. Spent parts of 5 years in the majors with the Astros, Nationals, and Dodgers. He was acquired for cash consideration by the Rays at the end of April from the Dodgers. Xander Bogaerts 0 for 2 tonight. Flied out to center in the 2nd, struck out swinging in the 5th. Skip in.
Bogart's been swinging the bat very nicely over his last 15 games or so. You know what I really like about his game these days is that nobody talks about his defense anymore. It's been solid out there at short. Made just 2 errors all season.
4-pitch walk here, and he heads down to first base. First walk given up by Cedeno. Stay tuned tonight following WB Mason Extra Innings Live for Red Sox Final, presented by Uno's. TC and Wake will look back at tonight's 1975 Red Sox festivities.
I remember last year at this time, Don, where That's all anyone could talk about, is that Xander can't play short. He's kicking the ball around. He doesn't have the range to do it. It's bad. We need to make some changes. Move him to third. Get him out of there. Sign Stephen Drew. We're not hearing one word of anything like that this year.
Xander aboard here with 2 down in the 7th inning, and Blake Swihart 0 for 2. He's grounded out and lined out. Down the third baseline, it is a fair ball. Longoria's off-balance throw is going to get there, and a good stretch by James Loney. Actually stepped in front of the runner to retrieve that. Through 7, it's 1-0 Boston.
You see the way he gets his last 3 strikeouts there on a rising fastball, a slider in the dirt, and then a breaking ball, curveball right there to get Wilson.
Porcello's pitching line brought to you by Ace Ticket. 7 innings, 8 hits, no runs, didn't walk anybody, and struck out 6. 102 pitches in his outing tonight. And now it's on to the 8th inning, and Steven Souza Jr. pops it up. And Mike Napoli staggers but makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out for Alexi Ogando. But don't miss WB Mason Extra Innings Live right after the game. TC and Wake will have clubhouse reaction from Rick Porcello and John Farrell. Whatever, whenever, wherever. Who but WB Mason? 1 pitch, 1 out, and James Loney the batter.
The last couple innings, the Rays hitters have been very aggressive, and a lot of 1-pitch outs or couple pitches and get an out. That's really helped Porcello at the end, and now Ogando.
Ogando out of the pen tonight for the Red Sox here in the 8th. 11th appearance of the year. 1-0. 3.38 earned run average. Opponent's hitting at 179 against Ogando. Gave up a home run on Saturday and made 6 scoreless appearances to that point, 6 2/3. He's appeared in just now 3 of the last 10 Red Sox games. Outside of first and foul. It seems to me the way that the starters have been going there for a while, Steve, it was tough for the bullpen and the relievers to get into their normal roles of what they were going to be, because they were pitching earlier in games than they normally would be, and it was really tough to get any kind of consistency.
Pitching earlier in games, pitching more innings and more pitches. You can't get a defined role out there unless your starters are doing what they're supposed to do. And that wasn't happening.
Fastball moving up and away, 2-2. Here's the arsenal for Agondo. It's good to see the velocity back for him right now after the injuries he had last year. Loney on a check swing and gets away. And did he go? No. They check with Trip Gibson, the third base umpire. So full count now. Robbie Ross Jr. up in the Boston pen.
Sometimes as a reliever, when you get up, you got to get up so quick and throw. Ross right there wasn't even bothering going into his stretch. He was just grabbing the ball and throwing it to get loose quickly. Now get back there and get on the rubber and go through his routine.
Popped up. Xander Bogaerts backpedaling. 2 down. Red Sox baseball in Nesson is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. 2 down here in the 8th inning. Well pitched ball game tonight, both sides. 1-0. Red Sox on top right now. And here's Evan Longoria, 2 away in the 8th inning.
Now this is a guy that you have to worry about. Power numbers have not been there for him this year, but you know they're gonna be.
The success against Agondo in the past. He's chasing after that.
It's a great pitch. He knew that Longoria is sitting dead red right here. Takes a little bit off, just a little cut fastball right there, and Longoria out in front of it.
Fouled back, and he jumps ahead 1-2. Evan Longoria with a single in the 4th inning, registering his 1,000th career hit. To left field, Craig moving over, and he lunges to make the catch. No, slicing away from him, but he makes the grab that ends the top of the 8th. It's 1-0 Boston. Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare on southwest.com. Toyota's website for deals via toyota.com. Digital Federal Credit Union. See what DCU can save you. Sullivan Tire and Auto Service. Thank you, New England, for 60 great years. And by Audi. Experience the all-new Audi A3 today. And the celebration of the 1975 team tonight at Fenway Park. As Mookie Betts hits one in the air again to deep left field. And it is gone into the monster seats. How about Mookie Betts tonight? Homered in the 6th, homered in the 8th. Mookie Betts has a 2-0 lead over the Tampa Bay Rays.
He just gets wrapped up in a bear hug right there from Big Papi. Well, he saw 2 pitches right out over the middle of the plate that basically said hit me, and he did both of them.
Toyota play of the game right there. Mookie Betts' second home run of the night. First time he's had a multi-home run game in his major league career. Now Pedroia flies to shallow center. Kiermaier coming in. 1 down here in the 8th.
You know, Don, it's one thing to get a good pitch to hit, but then you still have to hit it. Look at that thing. That's majestic.
Now David Ortiz with 1 out. Pops it up left side. Longoria left alone on that left side of the infield, and he will make the catch. Actually, it's Asdrubal Cabrera left alone on the left side of the infield, and it's Cabrera who makes the catch. 2 down. Mike Napoli coming up. Oh, 4-3 in the game. He's grounded out to second, reached on an error in the 4th inning, and then grounded out to third. This will skip in for ball 2. Getting ready in the pen. The Red Sox closer has now got another run to work with here. Napoli cleans this out, but a foul ball out ahead. Looking for the fastball, and it was a changeup. And Napoli wraps that into the seats.
Well, sometimes you're surprised that he doesn't get fooled more often because he has so much extra movement in that swing. Big hitch, big leg kick. He's got to get that stuff going quickly. And when his timing is right, you know, we've seen him launch balls, but when it's not, you go through a period like he's going through right now. 2 for 20 on this homestand.
Napoli cranks it foul off to the right, out of play. Another pop up, another foul ball out of play. So Ernesto Frieri comes into this 8th inning, gives up a home run to Betts, settles down to get Pedroia to fly out, Ortiz to pop out. Now in a battle with Mike Napoli. Framed there by Wilson, and a close pitch, but called a ball. 3-2. Another foul off to the right, and Napoli will see a ninth pitch in this at bat.
This is a pretty good battle going on right here. A lot of times a hitter will look for a certain at bat to kind of get himself going again. This would be a great one to win this battle and maybe turn things around and get hot again for Nap.
Napoli lifts a fly ball to shallow center. Kiermaier got a late break. He's still coming, and that's going to fall. Kiermaier can't catch it. Napoli's only at first. But aboard here as Kiermaier was very deep in center field. It is a single for Napoli with 2 down.
I can see how he got fooled on that ball because Napoli pulled way off of that ball and had a huge swing. So it looks like it's really hit hard. Kiermaier takes a little stutter step back. He's coming hard. He's looking for Forsythe to keep coming out. Now nobody knows who's going to catch it, and no one can catch up with it.
So it gives Sandoval a chance from the left side with a right-hander now in the game.
Maybe a little of the frustration with Napoli not hitting all that well. Thought that was going to be a pop-up. Might have made it to second base if you busted out of the box.
Foul off to the left out of play. That offering from Frieri at 92 miles an hour. They go up top again, and Sandoval chases a high fastball. 1-2. He struck out twice tonight.
Yep. 2 pitches, change up or a high fastball.
Napoli taken off. Sandoval swinging, lifts a fly ball to left to Jesus. Makes the catch that ends the inning, but a leadoff home run by Mookie Betts, his second solo shot of the night. Red Sox have a 2-0 lead. Astros, and no doubt it is Mookie Betts with not one but 2 home runs. The first came in the 6th inning. That broke up the no-hitter for Drew Smyly, and the second coming to lead off the 8th against Ernesto Frieri. And the Red Sox take a 2-0 lead to the 9th inning. So a big night for Betts as the Red Sox 3 outs away from grabbing game 2 of the series.
Pretty much did it all tonight, didn't he?
He did. Koji Uehara now in for his 8th appearance of the year. 2-1, 2.84 earned run average, 11 strikeouts, 0 walks, 227 opponent batting average, 4-5 in save opportunities. And it's to Jesus who leads it off, swings at the first pitch and fouls it off for strike 1. Alexi Agondo goes the 8th as a 1-2-3 8th inning.
Well, there's not a worse feeling for any hitter to know that now you're down in the count 0-1 with Koji on the mound.
Splitter, and it was headed downward, 0-2.
And that's why. I already saw his fastball. I should have hit it. I fouled it off, and now look what I get. See ya.
Away, and it's 1-2. Fastball at 88 miles an hour.
That's the perfect pitch for Koji because he's just trying to pick that corner with the fastball, show the fastball. If you get the strike, great, but you're going right back to the split.
Ground ball right side. Pedroia's got it. 1 down in the 9th. Tonight's game summary is brought to you by Xfinity. A very nice outing tonight for Rick Porcello. 7 innings, giving up no runs on 8 hits. He struck out 6. Smiley was pretty good too. Gave up 1 run in 6 innings in his 3rd start of the year. And Mookie Betts 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. 1 down here in the 9th inning. 8 in a row retired by Red Sox pitching. And Logan Forsythe fouls this one off. The home plate umpire, Brian Gorman, stung on that foul ball. That staggered him.
Took it like a champ back there, didn't he? Took 1 step back and said, hey, I'll get you a new ball to play with.
Forsythe has a hit tonight. He's singled to left field in the 6th inning. Tampa Bay out hitting Boston 8-5 in this game, but trailing 2-0. Here's a pop-up. Swihart discards the mask. Napoli's coming down from first, and Swihart makes the catch in fair ground. 2 down in the 9th.
Napoli probably came all the way down the line just to yell at Swihart, you got it, kid. Look on Koji's face.
Two down in the 9th. There's Drupal Cabrera, the batter. Outside for ball 1. Cabrera struck out in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th, popped out to the first baseman Mike Napoli in the 6th inning.
There you go.
Ball and a strike. The splitter has him off balance.
Koji's got the arm strength now where he's got the little extra giddy up on that fastball and then the good late breaking action to the split.
Swing and a miss, and it's 1-2.
Cabrera is a darn good hitter, and he's looking helpless.
2 down in the inning, 1-2 the count as Fenway stands as one. Oh, just away. Joey Butler on deck, but Uehara would like to take care of business right here, right now. Bouncing in for ball 3. The 3-2 pitch. On the ground by the dive of Uehara. Pedroia is there, and that is that. Red Sox win.
Uehara couldn't make the play. Pedroia did behind him. And Uehara enjoys a 1-2-3 ninth inning. The save. And the Red Sox shut out the Tampa Bay Rays tonight. Mookie Betts, 2 home runs. We're back with more after this.